but I won't if I can't get the courts to arbitrate. Thank you.
So this is, should I answer that or?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, okay, no, it's okay. I think the point you raise is an important one, but India is, very much a genuine democracy where the judiciary is independent of the executive. So the ability for the executive to carry out judicial reform is limited, but I think the judiciary itself is aware of this, and I think we will see some progress. Beyond that, I have nothing to say on that. Yeah.
Doctor, am I going? All right, I have the microphone actually. So your encapsulation of how diaspora can engage was brilliant. We have ourselves discovered some of those elements, and I'm championing a fund which is addressing a very specific issue that India is witnessing, which is the low labor participation rates for women, which is, in our estimation, going to feed issues if not tackled proactively. So we've actually set up a venture fund which is investing in innovation technology to promote gender equity and climate action. My request to the government is to also then, and I've spent enough time and more studying this, ultimately it goes back to the old Indian intelligence of jiski lathi uski bhais, which in this case translates into the capital allocations that are being made for supporting women in all spheres of life, in all personas. So it doesn't just have to be women entrepreneurs. We are not about backing a company just because it's founded by a company. We are backing a company because it's promoting gender equity in ownership, leadership, supply chain, market making. Can we request the government to look at people like us with a broader lens and not, in some cases, your institutions are doing brilliantly well, but this whole issue of, oh, but you're a first-time fund manager, and I know there are a lot of fund managers here, and years of the policymakers, you're yourself one, also peel the onion and say, if somebody's got the requisite background, do we have to check the box and say, for example, and I'm going to minutia here, but can the policymakers also take a broader view of saying, how do we support? In my estimation, there is a very strong correlation between less than 8% fund managers being women at the partner level to less than 2% venture equity coming down to women. Let's study the correlation. Let's find a way to promote female fund managers, and with the support of the government would be greatly welcomed.
Thank you. Good suggestion, but I'm not able to respond to it immediately in terms of what we can do, because I think we have this, the government is already into many kinds of regulation and regulating the content of how fund managers should, but I take your point, and we do have a lot of budgetary allocations to take care of women's issues, but I wouldn't be able to respond to the specific point of...
Fair points. I just want to raise our hands to say, when you talked about knowledge, to the extent we can contribute to any of those policy frameworks, we're raising our hand and saying, sign us on.
Sure. Okay,
There's
thank you.
There's a question in the back. If you can shout it out. Yeah.
So I hear a lot about the top line GDP number. How can India learn from the mistakes of the other countries where the gap between the haves and the have-nots have become so big that that's what's kind of creating a lot of the issues? And so how does the rest of the country come along? And what are some of the goals for that, GDP per capita, for example, or other, indicators of a better quality of life?
Yeah, so it's a very good question. And the government has a whole panoply of policy measures to address the issue of balanced growth of income. So we are not focused on just growing the mathematics of the total GDP divided by the number of people. Distribution is extremely important. And so we have a whole set of policies. One is, and we sometimes don't get statistical credit for some of these policies, we provide food grain to 800 million people, earlier at 2 rupees a kilogram and now for free. Now, when there's inflation, their inflation is zero. I mean, that particular item of inflation is zero. So one is providing the poor with privileged access to essential requirements, food, cooking gas, electricity. There's been a huge push towards equipping the poor with the basic minimum needs of a household. And our recent publication by the Niti Aayog on the multidimensional poverty index has shown a dramatic improvement in the number of households that have got out of multidimensional poverty. So that continues to be a huge thrust in the government, and the government is focused on improving. I gave you only one example. For reasons of time, I can go on this for quite a bit. I can give you a whole speech on it, but I want to restrict myself to that. Yeah. Okay.
Can we take 2 short questions and then he'll answer the 2 at the same time?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, sir. My name is Nishit Desai. I'm a researcher and international lawyer.
Sorry, just one thing I wanted to add. We're also focused on improving the tax take. So we've been removing a lot of tax exemptions, by the way, again, so that we address this from both sides. Okay.
You read my mind. I am a tax professional.
Yes, yes. So I know that's often not popular, the places where I speak, but that's the other thing we're doing. Okay.
Sir,
Yeah.
I'm also one of the highest tax-paying professionals in India. Hopefully, I justifiably can ask a small question. Whole process of legislative drafting in tax law in particular, my specialty is international tax too, needs to be revisited, sir. Because there's not much discussion in the budget. We don't need a secrecy, need more consultative approach. Because at a macro level, I have paid 97.5% tax in 1970-71, along with some other one, some people paid 102%. Those days are gone. So on a macro level, it's a very good setup. At a micro level, lot of ambiguities and other kind of stuff. And we work at a cross purpose. So if we can revisit, I'll be happy to meet with you and give you more specific.
I take your point. We need to do that. Yeah. I agree.
Last question.
Okay, so I'm Amit Mehta. I'm a corporate financier. My skill is fundraising, and I've been doing this for India since 2008. So I've been engaging quite a lot. I would like to reiterate Mr. Dhameja's point, and you said you don't want to make a comment, but Justice Thakur in 2016 April said India is 70,000 judges short. Now you can't manufacture 70,000 judges. It's in the Hindustan Times, so it's not something I'm manufacturing here. But where is the progress? Because as one of the big things that made a difference when I was going to see investors was this ranking of India on ease of business, which now has been disbanded, but the introduction of the bankruptcy code made a huge difference to this. Right? Now, if the sanctity of a contract in India is improved rather than having to go and fight for it, the ease of actually for a day-to-day for business. So as the money bags person in the government, I would strongly push that it will make life a lot easier for a lot of us, whether it's technology transfer, knowledge transfer, because that's also very important in terms of contracts, that we focus on this, please. That's just my request.
I take note of your point.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.